The labor market seeing a lot of back and forth in 2025. JPMorgan's now predicting 2026 may start off slow, but then improve later in the year. Now, the bank attributing 2025's loss of jobs momentum to business uncertainty created by President Trump's tariff plan and other trade policies. One JPMorgan chief economist says, quote, "We believe supports are coming together that will arrest this labor market slowdown and revive activity growth later next year." I want to bring in Job Creators Network CEO Alfredo Ortiz. So what is your outlook and what do you make of their assessment that the first half of the year is going to be difficult, but the second half, because they add, you're going to get tax cuts, you're going to get interest rate cuts. All of that is going to be meaningful to the economy.
Well, Cheryl, thank you so much, and Happy New Year. Thank you for having me. Look, when when people ask me the question about the future of the economy, I always say look to Main Street, not Wall Street when it comes to that. Remember that 2/3 of new job growth is in the hands of small business owners. Large employers might be the larger employers overall in the country, but 2/3 of new job growth is in the hands of small business owners. And so as the Trump administration has really championed, key economic pro-growth policies, it's really helped our small business owners. Two in particular that were passed at the One Big Beautiful Act was the immediate expensing and also the permanency of the 20% tax deduction. Those two right there are turbocharging, I think, the American small business owner. And so I actually think that we're going to see a lot of those policies really come online, and that growth, which is really kind of a lot of our small business owners were really waiting for that to happen. And on July 4th, that did happen. And so a lot of those plans are going to come online, and I think we're going to see small business hiring really pick up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to bring in Tiana Lodesher into this conversation. Tiana.
For all the fears about, the Fed not being able to pull off a soft landing and, 2025 wasn't great for the job market, net job gains were still up 500,000, and the overwhelming majority of the job losses were all in government, right, which lost more jobs than every other sector combined. So is it possible that we are in sort of the nadir of the laxity in the job market? Does it all go up from here as, especially when SCOTUS comes in and rules on the tariffs?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the tariff, I think a lot of our small business owners understood why Trump was actually doing that, to really try to bring a little, not necessarily free trade, because I don't think we'll necessarily have free trade, but a fairer trade, and really bring back, investments back into the United States. Remember, almost $10 trillion now has been committed to the United States to bring jobs back online and back to the American worker. And so I do think that job growth is really going to be just increasing from here. A lot of our small business owners, again, 2/3 of new job growth in the hands of those small business owners, were really putting their plans on hold until a little bit of the tariff kerfuffle or dust really kind of settled, and that has settled. And I think with some of these tariff pullbacks, which have been very smart, that Trump has just recently announced, I think a lot of that is going to help.
I want to ask you about that, because the Trump administration is delaying tariff increases for a year on imported upholstered furniture, kitchen cabinets, and vanities due to the ongoing negotiations with trading partners. Now, the U.S. was set to double tariffs on cabinets and vanities to 50% starting today, and then it was going to be 30% on upholstered furniture. So these are pro-business policies. Mm-hmm. But how does that affect the job market? Because this, to me, is not just tradespeople, craftsmen, but also the small businesses that you've been referencing. That is the growth. If they know that they're going to have another year without these heavy tariffs on top of them, I would think that they may be more willing to hire, to build, to expand, to produce.
Yeah, Cheryl, I think that's right. Look, what the Trump administration, I think, has shown is that flexibility to actually pivot when they have to. And I think they knew that these were a couple of areas that they had to show some flexibility on for our small business owners. We actually have a few of our members that are actually in the kitchen cabinet remodeling, and I have to tell you, they're very relieved from this, kind of relief that they've actually seen from the Trump administration. That was going to be a big hit, but I will tell you, what they told me is they'll figure it out. And that is the beauty of the small business owner in this country, the resiliency of the small business, right? Remember that they're just coming off the heels of kind of this Biden inflation era of almost 10% inflation. And so Trump has been able to stabilize that inflation over this time frame. And I think now they're seeing that relief. And like I said, they're seeing the relief from the tariffs. That inflation that JPMorgan, for example, predicted, Where is it? They never materialized. And so I think what we're seeing is a lot of those energy costs, savings that Trump has really championed from day one. I think those are now starting to flow through the economy, and we're going to start also seeing, I think, a decline in a lot of that inflation rate.
Well, we're still above that 2% target
Right.
that the Fed has. And pricing, we know that pricing is the messaging we're hearing from President Trump. So we'll see what the data gives us. But I do want to ask you about AI, because AI could reshape the labor market by automating jobs in sectors like technology, manufacturing, and even some services. Some investors predict it could displace up to 14% of human jobs alone. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think the ones that are going to be hurt the most, or unfortunately, are recent grads, MBAs. If you look at what AI technology really is being used for, it's a lot of that entry-level type work that was really being done by these recent grads or a lot of our MBA grads. I really have to tell you that I really wish that a lot of our universities, both undergrad and grad school, really take this AI growth seriously and retool their entire way of doing business and really embrace the AI technology and start teaching their students, because I don't think they're prepared for this AI launch. And so, one thing that we'd love to see is a lot of these high-tech companies work with, let's say, the Department of Labor or the Small Business Administration and actually go through the process of retraining and retooling a lot of these displaced workers because of AI and get them ready for these jobs that are coming from that $10 trillion of investment. We need to have that happen today.
I've got about 20 seconds, John Lonsky. Quick reaction from you before we go.
Well, I think it's very important that those companies that supply AI services do more with businesses, so they explain to the workers at these customers exactly how do you use AI.
Yeah, well, exactly. And what does AI do for processes? And I think it's going to be a good thing.
That's right.
Alfredo Ortiz, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon.